Hi, I'm Merida, and I am unboxing my Yellowbird FoodShed veg box. It's the mini size, by myself, not sponsored. Just showing what I actually get when I choose the mini box, and the value that I find in it, and some advantages to getting local food versus veg that's been shipped across the continent twice, which is why it goes bad in a couple of days. So, starting in, I have my notes of what it is, because when you do veg boxes, you get a lot more variety of food, and you actually have to learn to identify things. Very much enjoyed it when I was at university, and I had to learn a bunch of vegetables that they don't show in the regular shops, even the huge ones. But this one, we're starting out with a basic. Just show you my mini box. Shows up like this. Fairly useful. It is cardboard, it is delivered, so it's very useful for disability carers, just terribly over busy with multiple jobs. Working third shift, you can just get vegetables and get on with your life. You do not have to chase the world around. Just starting on what I got. There are things wrapped in plastic. That's an unfortunate downside, but I take it out as soon as I get it. We start with something most people can recognize, which is a good curly kale. And I will just snip these out of the bag, wrap it in either a paper towel or a paper napkin, or flour sack towel if you have it, and then put it on a plate without any extra containers or anything else around it, and it'll keep in the fridge well over a week. So some of my salads I've ended up keeping 2 weeks, because as long as you keep it dry and cold, it was only picked like a day and a half ago, so it's got some time on it. I've been eating my vegetables a little bit more frequently, so it's not lasting 2 weeks like it was, but it can if you need it to. So one of the greatest advantages that I have of getting these veg boxes is that my veg doesn't go bad in 2 days. It's really handy. A lot of my friends, even in pharmacy, are just like, oh, I can't buy salad. You can. You just need to buy salad that hasn't how they have it. All of the lettuce that goes through Dole goes through 2 manufacturing plants in the entire continent of the United States. Taking just a wee bit of greens and transporting it 2,000-3,000 miles twice, and then wondering why it goes bad. So that you actually have food that's not going to spoil immediately, which is something I get from all grocery stores, even the nicer ones. We've got some fresh herbs. This is like the 3rd week in a row I've got cilantro, but I like it, so it works very well for me. If you can't really use it all that quickly, just, again, out of the plastic bag, tie it up with a rubber band, and just like hang it off a cabinet door or something, and it tends to dry in a day or so, and then you've got that preserved. So that works out pretty well. More plastic, but I've got carrots, which I like raw, I like cooked, I like every principal way. So even one of my chef friends really gets after me because, or just takes the neck out of me because I don't even bother peeling them. I like the rustic dirt flavor, apparently. Works out well for me, but I like a lot of root vegetables. But if you're going to be a proper French chef, peel them, apparently. This is one of the new squash to me, although it's very similar in appearance to acorn squash. I'm very used to cooking these indigenous veg for America, and this one in particular is called a sweet dumpling squash. So basically how I cook squashes is either the simplified way of my great-grandmother: slice it in half, dig out the center seeds, put oil or butter, maybe in a little brown sugar if you like that as well, or stevia. Put the halves upside down, flesh side down, in a baking pan, and bake it for about an hour at about 400, 450, 425 maybe. It's not that delicate. The recipe is from my great-grandmother from 100 years ago, and she cooked with a wood stove, so none of her recipes have temperatures. You throw it in the oven. It's fine. It's not that delicate. It's not that precise. It's not Thomas Keller cooking. Also, another way I like to make it is to chop it open, scoop it out a bit. Maybe I put it into quarters or even just cut along the ridges, and then chuck it in the air fryer with some olive oil and some salt, and then season it later, whatever I'm serving it as a side with. And that gets it done in more of a 20-minute time span, 20-25 minutes including prep, rather than the fabulous hour of the old method of my grandmother. They do make the effort, Benji, I forget his last name, but we're not on a first name basis, but Benji does make the effort of getting oranges and citrus organic from California and brings them out to us. So, and these again will last much longer than what I get in the store. I've actually started eating my oranges and citrus and everything I'm eating some. So it's really good. General ways to eat it are just eat it raw. Other favorite ways that I tend to prepare this one is to peel it and chop it up into more of like a diced and put it in with turmeric and cinnamon and a little bit of honey. And then I have some sort of like turmeric orange boba drink, which works out really well for me. Or I peel it and just put it in the blender, and I have more orange pulp than orange juice because I don't feel like wasting the pulp. I always end up using the peels as well for cleaners, degreasers, put in some alcohol, maybe add some sage from some previous boxes. Yes, that just happens to be there drying, and with some salt, and it makes a very good degreaser. Another lettuce, which is another great thing about this, a lot of this, about half of this or more can be eaten just straight raw. It doesn't require a lot of cooking. Again, great for disability. This one's just a head of romaine lettuce. Again, it's been grown hydroponically, and I'll just take it out of the plastic bag and go ahead and wrap it in paper towel, or actually I don't have paper towels, I just use napkins, and or some flour sack towel, reusable, straightforward. Don't bother putting it in bottom crisper drawers. My bottom drawers are for raw chicken. I don't store raw chicken and raw meats above vegetables. That's just not a me thing. I've had nightmares of people storing chicken improperly. So my veg goes on the top shelf. Here we get a big glorious bag. And enjoy my accent because I went to school or uni in the UK, and of course went to school everywhere. And I have the most ridiculous accent that wanders absolutely everywhere like a puppy. And here we have where you do a little bit of learning, where we have broccoli greens as well, not just the flowers that we typically eat. I like all bits of the broccoli, so just chop that up, especially if I mince it up quite a bit. Add it with some slaw, some cabbage I usually keep on hand as well. I find the most important element when eating salads is to actually balance flavors. Put fruit with it. My biggest secret for getting children to eat dark greens is to put berries. Use salad dressing to your advantage. And I'll also, like I said, mix it with a cabbage and then have a coleslaw dressing on it. So it just becomes part of the slaw. Add a tin tuna or a tinned chicken on top of it, berries, shallots, and it's a lot nicer than just trying to suffer through really, really bitter. Of course, the broccoli's not that bitter, but more the spinaches and the kales balance the flavors and don't just like leave them alone because they're bitter and very few people like them on their own. And the last bit in my standard bag, a very useful paper bag, which I appreciate and use something else, is we have this article of potatoes that we got, and this variety I had to look up is Harvest Moon potatoes. And I'm not going to be too hard on myself because there's 200 varieties of potato, the noble potato, originating in Peru, so that I don't know every one of those plus all the hybrids. It's one of the purple potatoes, and yeah, smells a bit like a Japanese sweet potato, a little bit, so it's wandering in that direction, but doesn't smell too much like a gold or a full-on sweet potato. Not much of a beta-carotene smell. Also reuse the paper bags for either just simple small rubbish bins, or I just dust it out and reuse it for making microwave popcorn. Save myself from having to have an expensive stasher bag and making tiny bits at a time. or you have to buy the bag popcorn, or you have to get another appliance, and in tiny kitchens, that's not fun. So I got to make an enormous amount of popcorn the other day reusing these bags. So that is the brilliant bit. Use what you got. I do save the plastic bags as well for, you know, cleaning up things you do not want to touch. Saves me the bother of purchasing gloves, if there's anything. Of course, mask doesn't get that dirty, but every once in a while, there's just something you don't want to touch. Chuck all these back with their friends. And I can't be bothered to edit. I'm a theater actress. I just did rehearsals and wrote a script and did rehearsals and fixed my lighting, and here we go. Also, covering up my smidge of information, they gave me a bit of a freezer bag as well, because I am gluten-free, whether I like it or not. Yes, it took a year's medical workup to figure out that, Doc, it hurts when I eat this. Don't do that. Don't eat it. So, a decent price for flatbreads, or a decent price for gluten-free breads in general. Prices are exploding, $9 to $11 American in Ohio for a loaf of bread. Not keen. Aldi does make breads gluten-free. Hard to find. There's still the whole wheat loaf with the millet. I do really like that. I can find. But as even Whole Foods are, you know, no longer whole paycheck, and Kroger is far more expensive, I'm back to baking a lot of my own bread. But gluten-free pizzas have also gone bonkers, and it's not too bad. $12. Far simpler than ordering delivery or restaurant or any of that. But for the sake of really low effort meals, I got the Odo's flatbreads. I've had Odo's before, but not their flatbread varieties. These are vegan. Fair enough. And there's actual food in there. Let's see, yeah, just generals, potato starch, brown rice flour, grape juice, rice syrup, so there's some sweetness in it, and rice flour, and vinegar, and things I can recognize. But I'm a biochemist, so there's a lot of things I can recognize. My goal for the flatbreads is to actually have them set up as pizzas. Just get some Ziploc bags. I've got 3 in this pack here. They were $6, so $2 a flatbread. A little bit of pizza sauce, whatever, some veg I have laying around, kohlrabi, whatever's in there, canned chicken, canned tuna, something, and efficiently make more of a pizza around $4 an individual pizza rather than 12. And then when you come home from your 2 and 3 jobs and you're just over it, and making cereal is a little too ambitious and not very nutritious, then I'll have these set in the freezer, already just a simple meal prep, and get on with it. And much less expensive, you know, by more than half of getting a full-on pizza. Already made at Aldi. And here we have the Odo's bagels. They're the thin versions, but they're still bagels, and I still really like them. Have had them before. They're a little on the pricier side, but again, not as anywhere near as like pearl clutching as gluten-free has become. So there is base culture. There are these various gluten-free brands and a lot of gluten-free noodles available on Yellowbird FoodShed's website, and that you just add to your order. These were add-ons, they're not automatic. And it works out really well, because part of the piss of being gluten intolerant, being gluten-free, celiacs, all of that is just hunting it down. You know, sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't, and no one has time for this. Just no one. So I save myself a total of at least 10 hours a month grocery shopping by just having this brought to me. And you can consider things, you can set up about 4 or 5 weeks at a time of, you know, you'll get what's in season. It's growers first. So they're very interested in and determined to give the growers a fair price for food and give them stable customer base, so they know how much to grow for how many people they have ordering from them on a weekly basis. And the little bit of wobble, you know, then they have extra veg boxes you can get for, you know, the extras supply for $15 for like a mini-sized box, when the regular mini-sized box is $25. So really good deal on there. So I like to splurge and get that as well. I'm not a big subscription box person, mainly because if I'm going to spend money, I'd rather just pick things I like, rather than fill my house beyond what it is. Sort of terrifies me a little bit. But for you can get that subscription box feeling, and oh goody, and I have goodies to open every week, and it's something you need. It's food. It's not anything that comes in a subscription box besides a food co-op order or anything like that. So this is what I've gotten this week. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, you can figure out lox and cream cheese. Lots of good stuff going on in there that I can make it with, or just eat it straight, because it's very lazy appropriate once it thaws. You can get a lower price point for the box in general if you have the bother and the means to go to the pickup point. That is once a week. Then you don't have the $10 delivery fee. The delivery fee is just more than worth it if it gets it done. I'm not spending fuel. I'm not dilly-dallying as my normal self, plus dilly-dallying and behind other people dilly-dallying, plus just finding things. It's a lot. So as much as I enjoy grocery shopping, I need to take like a break from that. And I do my more of a once monthly shop. I can set this up a month at a time and go, oh, okay, I'll add this and I'll add that, and plan around things. You know, it's a bit of a, it's a bit of a mystery in terms of which variety of lettuce you're going to get, but they give you a general warning of what's coming up, and you can always add to the shopping with what they have available. They are expanding and expanding and expanding their meats, their groceries, noodles, even some personal care products, locally made beeswax candles, which I'll be showing a little bit of what else I got from my next week's go of it. But this is really great for, even if you're, low income. This is especially great for disability carers, uni students in STEM, where we are working 60, 80, hopefully not more than 80 hours a week, but I know better. And you need actual food to sustain yourself, and it's fairly easy to work with. And you have food that actually lasts, and you're supporting people nearby, and they also have this very long-running slogan of "Who grew your food?" So actually, on all of these little bits, it shows you which exact farm it came from. You can follow up on all the growers. Lots of the growers are part of the farmfluencers who show their farms and the hydroponics and the organics that they are delivering. For obvious reasons, the Amish would not be the ones running that sort of a show. Amish make a choice that they do not have their photos taken for a particular religious reason. Fully respect. If you see a picture, especially face forward, of an Amish person, they're either on Rumspringa as a teenager before they're baptized, or they're probably a conservative Mennonite. But the Amish obviously aren't going to be on the internet, but several other really great farms are. So you can get to know them as well. You can always reach out to the team at Yellowbird. They're very humane, very lovely to work with, great to have a conversation with, and will address any concerns that you want. They're really down to earth, as one would genuinely hope farmers are. And I will be looking forward to sharing the next box with you. Thanks so much. Have a brilliant day. Bye-bye.